the camera with the screen hidden, Fujifilm X-PRO3 versus the full frame camera small, also with the screen closed. Let's see which camera is better depending on different scenarios. Let's talk about this now. Hi there, Tudor Matescu here. In this video I want to compare the full frame Sony A7c versus Fujifilm X-PRO3. And why I would do this comparison? Because using for a long time side by side both of these two cameras in studio for photography, for street photography, for family photography, I was able to find some similarities but also of course some differences. And I want to share with you what I found, and let's see if Sony A7c can compete with the king of street photography, Fujifilm X-PRO3. So if you are in content like this, please give it a like to this video. Now, let's talk about size and weight, because this is very important. As you are able to see, both of these two cameras have similar size and weight. I feel them equally in my hand. So I have here on Sony A7c a pancake old Sony lens, a Zeiss lens that I really love, the 35mm f2.8, great lens, great rendition. And also I have here on X-PRO3 the 27mm f2.8 Fujifilm lens Mark II. So they are similar lenses, and we could say that X-PRO3 has a little advantage because it's a 40mm lens and it should give you a better depth of field in theory, but in practice it's not giving you a better or an equivalent depth of field. So if you are asking about these two lenses regarding the subject to background separation, I feel you will win more subject to background separation with the 35mm f2.8. But getting this out of the way, this combo, the X-PRO3 with this lens and Sony A7c with this lens, have similar weight and size, and also we have similar weight and size with different lenses. So to show you an example, I have here Samyang 45mm f1.8 and Fujifilm 35mm f1.4. These two lenses are similar in weight and size, and in the end result, yes, we can pixel peep and make all kinds of judgments about the final image, but in the end they are similar. This is a more telephoto lens, a 53mm lens, and this is a 45mm f1.8 lens, and I found out that this lens, it is more usable and more practical than this nifty 50 lens from Fujifilm, because personally I like more the 45mm field of view. It is a more usable everyday and day-to-day without forcing you to change the lens. So Sony has an advantage here. Also we have the Sony 50mm f2.45 with aperture ring, that it's a pancake lens also. So we have similar lenses, size, weight and ergonomics, because, how I've said, the new Sony lenses have aperture rings. So regarding size, weight and ergonomics regarding the lenses, we can call them pretty equally. By the way, if you want to learn more about photography, I have a newsletter dedicated for the passionate photographer. Check the link in the comments and description, and also the link is printed on the channel right now. But now let's talk about the most important thing that I found out, and this is the screen. The main selling point of X-PRO3 is the screen, the fact that you can't see the screen, and this will help you not chimp anymore by looking at the screen after you've made a picture. So this was the main selling point, the main marketing idea behind this camera. But many people didn't like that. I don't know why. I am liking this very much. I like to not see the screen. This was one of the main reasons why I've bought X-PRO3, and for another reason that I'll get in a minute. But yes, I'm liking this implementation. This is why I want to use X-PRO3 because I have this screen. But what I've discovered is that with Sony A7c, with this old implementation of a flippy screen, you also can't see the screen because the screen it is closed. So problem solved. But I've discovered another interesting stuff, that with the flippy screen it's harder to chimp than with X-PRO3. So if I want to chimp, let's say I've made a picture and I want to chimp, okay, I need to open the screen. And it's hard. This movement, it's not fun. And it's not just that, I also need to make this move because I look like this at the screen. So harder to chip with the standard flippy screen. Good. Now with X-PRO3, regarding the screen, it's easier to chimp because I am taking the picture and I flip the screen like this and I'm ready to chimp or to take shots, down angle shots. And yes, we have here another advantage. So it really depends what kind of shooter you are. Do you like to shoot from the eye to the waist level, fast and easy? Then X-PRO3 has the best implementation out there. It is the most easy and fluent movement from shooting to the level of the eye to the waist level. So it is the most fluent movement out there. Now with a normal tilt screen, you will not have this fluent movement. So I have this X100V and the movement, it's not fluent at all. It's not working as on X-PRO3, and also you can see the screen and this adds another distraction to your shooting. So I've discovered that in real world shooting, when I want to use the EVF to shoot or the optical viewfinder, Sony A7c is as good or not even better than X-PRO3, because when I have the screen closed, it's harder for me to get from this screen to an open screen because I'm hating the fact that I have the screen downside and again the movement is not so fluent. But now let's talk about the EVF and the optical viewfinder, because here we have a big differentiate factor. So on X-PRO3, and this was the second reason why I've decided to buy it, is that I have an optical viewfinder. The optical viewfinder of X-PRO3, it is great, and Sony A7c can't do this for you. Yes, you can add an optical viewfinder to Sony A7c, like this optical viewfinder from TT Artisan, but this is a fixed optical viewfinder for the 28mm field of view. And also you have some other optical viewfinders, but it's fun, it's great. You can transform your A7C in an analog camera with optical viewfinders, but you will be limited. But also you are pretty limited on X-PRO3 because the optical viewfinder of X-PRO3, it's working from 28mm field of view, you see outside of your optical viewfinder, to about 90mm equivalent field of view. So it's not there. Also, if you are curious about the photography books that I recommend, I have a dedicated article on my blog. You can check the photography books and courses that I recommend for learning photography and street photography. I heard that the X-PRO2 optical viewfinder was better, but yes, overall the X-PRO3 has this big advantage, and if you want to use a camera in a more analog way, then X-PRO3 is for you because it's dedicated to this kind of shooting. It is specialized for this kind of shoot. Regarding EVF and OVF, I feel that both have advantages and disadvantages. I feel that both EVF are okay, they could be better, but the experience using the optical viewfinder, it is great, and this is one of my main reasons why I wanted the X-PRO3 experience. And another factor very important is that optical viewfinder with the closed screen. This is making the camera special, very special. If I have an open screen like on X100V, the experience is not the same. I want to use the optical viewfinder of X100V, but because I have an open screen, I'm tempted to use more and more the screen. And now we are getting to the AF speed and manual focusing. Well, of course, Sony A7c, it is way ahead X-PRO3. And also regarding manual focusing, the focus picking is working great on Sony A7c, but again, yes, it's not as sizzled and as good as on X-PRO3. So yes, you can do it. You have a great punch-in zoom function that works with dedicated cheap manual focusing lenses, and we have many lenses for the Sony A7 system. Many lenses, Voigtlander lenses with chips already contacted. On X-PRO3 we have just now a few Voigtlander lenses, APS-C lenses, and I've heard many people didn't like to use X-PRO3 with Voigtlander's connected lenses because the optical viewfinder frame lines is changing. And yes, it's changing. The frame lines of the X-PRO3 are changing because it's correcting for the parallax error. So this is why you are seeing that square changing the size. And if you don't want to change the size, then you must use a manual focusing lens without chips, and you will not have EXIF data. So again, there is something here that people aren't liking. I'm okay for the moment, but yes, of course, I have wanted an option in the firmware, fixed lenses with 2 frames, how we have on a manual lens that doesn't have chips, and this is why we have 2 frames, because the camera is showing you the parallax error for 1 meter to infinity. So between those frame lines, your image will be composed correctly. But again, yes, you will not have exactly composition. If you want an exactly composition, then you must use a lens with contact chips, and the frame also will move. And this is cumbersome when you want to manual focus your lens, because you will see that frame moving. So it's different from a Leica that has fixed frame lines. Now let's talk about the mojones factor, the fun factor. Which camera it's more fun to use and to pick for street photography? Well, here is a tricky question for me, because I'm liking both of these 2 cameras. They have a different experience and different image quality, and the mojones factor also, for me, it is very tied to the image quality. So I am liking the image quality for black and white files with Sony A7c, and also I'm liking to edit the raw files because I know to edit them. I'm using Cobalt profiles and I get Fujifilm colors on my Sony A7c. With X-PRO3 I don't have the same image quality. The image quality with this lens, it's good, it's working for street photography, but I have wanted better image quality, like the new lenses from the Fujifilm. So if Fujifilm will be able someday to get a pancake small like this with the resolution of the 80mm f1.4 of the 30mm f1.4, then this will be another discussion. But regarding image quality, this is under, and this adds to the mojones factor. So I'm liking to use this camera, but I know I will not be able to get final results like I'm getting on Sony A7c. So this is a problem here. It really depends on what I'm wanting. I want to do fine art street photography, then I'm picking X-PRO3. For me, X-PRO3, it is the tool, the only tool that helps me make fine art photography, and it inspires me and it's making me creative on the streets. I am able also to do this with Sony A7c, but it's not so inspiring like X-PRO3. And why? Because of the optical viewfinder. So X-PRO3 with a long lens, with the optical viewfinder, with that close screen, it's a tool, a pen that helps me paint fine art street photos. With Sony A7c, I'm more inclined to do humanistic photography, portraits, candid portraits, and so on. I'm not inclined too much for fine art street photography. I'm able to do reflections and all kinds of other nice shots with Sony A7c, but regarding fine art photography, where I want to think more about the composition and about the elements, X-PRO3, it is my best tool at this moment, with a longer lens like TT Artisan 50mm f1.2 or even the 50mm f2 from Fujifilm. also for candid shots, also for street portraits. This is doable and it's okay, but personally I like the full frame look. Now, which camera to choose? It really depends on you. Are you a die-hard street photographer? Do you like the APS-C quality? Are you okay with APS-C Fujifilm quality? And also, if you are a working photographer or an amateur that wants to start a photography business, I have a dedicated, specialized newsletter for working photographers. There, you will receive 5 essential tools for growing your photography business for free. Check the link in the comments and description and subscribe now to that newsletter. Then this is the camera for you. Yes, X-PRO3, it is specialized in street photography. It can do events, it can do portraits very good with the right lenses, but this camera will force you not to be in a hurry. You must take your patience with this camera. It's not focusing fast and the dials aren't so fast as other dials or as other Fujifilm cameras also. You have clicky dials and you can't work so fast with these clicky dials. Yes, they are okay, they are doing the job, but this is faster. So if you want a camera to do it all, let's say vlogging, in studio, portrait photography, events, wedding and street photography as your hobby from time to time, then Sony A7c it is for you. The camera, it is light, you don't have a tilt screen towards you, but if you want to use the EVF, and I advise use the EVF for better compositions, then you can use Sony A7c. More than that, because this camera, it is very light, you can use the camera with the screen closed and you will be able to see your composition, so you aren't very constrained because you have this flippy screen. Because this is a rangefinder design, the EVF will not block the screen, so you'll be able to see the screen. So this is a camera able to do it all. So if you are on a budget and if you want a camera to do it all without, of course, the JPEGs from Fujifilm and without the straight of the camera JPEGs, you can go with Sony A7c. You can get the Fujifilm colors on Sony A7c when you are using the Cobalt profiles. Search online Cobalt profiles. I'm not affiliated with them. I've bought lots of their profiles and are great. Yes, they are great profiles and you will get Fujifilm colors on your Sony A7c. And better color, if you want from your Sony A7c, I advise also use Capture One. Capture One is great for any camera that you have. So in conclusion, both of these cameras are great cameras. This is a tool just for street photography. I will not recommend it to get it for other stuff. You can use it for event photography if, again, you are this kind of photographer that wants to have a camera that is inspiring you, that wants to have a camera that will take pictures, JPEGs pictures, straight off the camera. This is a camera to make fine art photography. This is a camera to take pictures like on film. You can get with some Fujifilm recipes, some film-like images straight from the camera. So this is great for portrait shoots when, again, you aren't in a hurry, you know what you are doing. So again, this is a camera for more advanced users. I don't recommend this camera for beginners. You must be at a level to master this camera, but if you are at that level and able to master the camera, this camera will not disappoint regarding photography in any conditions. But if you want also videography, vlogging and many more options, you'll have here many more options. Yes, it's a better camera, but yes, it's not specialized in photography like X-PRO3. Both of these cameras are very good and indifferently of your choosing, you will not go wrong. Yes, the X-PRO3 is hard to find now and we are waiting for X-PRO4. So till then, please subscribe now to my channel, give it a like, check my affiliate links to see the gear and software and service that I'm using in my photography business and in my business, and also please be sure to check the next video right now. Click right here.